What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement bringing you a brand new figure review. Today we are going to be taking a look at the very first wave of the brand new Gundam Universe figures from Bandai Tamashii Nations. These are of course some budget figures. Tamashii Nation usually makes some Gundam figures on the little bit more expensive side, but they finally, I guess for some reason, wanted to attempt to put out some more budget Gundam figures. Sort of similar to the Pacific Rim figures that hit a couple years ago from Pacific Rim Uprising, but really excited about these guys. So we've got RX-78, which is of course the classic Gundam, then we've got Wing Gundam from Gundam Wing, and then we have Unicorn Gundam from Gundam Unicorn. So I've taken all of these figures out of the package already and messed around with them, and I have to say so far I do like them. However, if you are a model builder, if you're into Gunpla, these are not going to replace your model kits, and I don't think that's what they were going for in the first place. I think these are just for people who don't want to build the model kits but also want to have some pretty good looking Gundam action figures. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start with Gramps here, the very first Gundam. We're going to get him out of the package, take a look at his accessories, and take a look at the figure itself. So for accessories, we'll start with some boring ones here. We've got the Bandai stand converter, so you can put this on and have the Gundam sit on the stand. Then we also have this little piece of plastic right here, which just fits into the shield, and that is so the Gundam can hold it, and you can move that around and it will also plug into the backpack. And let's take a look at the shield too. Looks really good, nice sculpted details. The paintwork is pretty clean on the little cross there, but of course this is just red plastic on white plastic. Not a whole lot of paint detail on these guys, similar to the Pacific Rim figures. Of course you have two beam saber hilts that plug into the backpack and also have the beams, which are some nice just little pieces of plastic painted pink. Maybe I would have liked some translucent plastic a little bit more, but you can see right here, these just plug in like that. And you get two of them, so you can have both beam sabers going at once, or also, if you take a look at the blaster right here, it also plugs in there as well. Plugs in more all the way, but it's kind of hard to really get in there. But you can see it plugs into the gun as well. So that's a nice little cool added bonus. And again, the gun looks really good. A little bit of gold right there for the scope. And the scope is articulated and it just popped off. However, if you are familiar with building the model kits, which I will be comparing these to some high grade model kits, those are the only model kits I've ever really built. I've also got the other Pacific Rim figures from Tamashii Nation, some NECA stuff, so I'm going to be comparing these to a lot so you can really get a sense of how big they are. But like I was saying, this is not articulated like it is on most model kits for Grandpa, so that unfortunately is in a fixed position. He also comes with two hands. He has trigger fingers right here, which is just some gray plastic, and they look fine. They're serviceable. There's nothing too crazy about them. And then of course a gripping hand for the saber. So let's take a look at Grandpa. Okay, so here he is up close and personal. And you can see that the details do look really nice on this figure. Although it kind of looks like the eyes are a little misplaced, a little misshapen there. But overall, I think the details do really look good. Like I said, not a whole lot of paint apps on these guys. You can see it's mostly just colored plastic, which I'm totally fine with. Don't really have an issue with that, and I think this looks pretty good. Of course, there's plenty of details left out that, you know, you could fill in with a Gundam marker or something if you'd like, if you want to panel line the figure itself, but I'm not going to do that with these guys. I'll save that for the model kits. Of course, it would probably make these look a million times better, but I don't think these look all too bad anyways to begin with. So let's take a look at the articulation for Grandpa. His head is on a ball joint, so you get all sorts of movement out of the head, no problem there. The shoulders do move out pretty far as well. He does have double jointed elbows, but because of the way that the Gundams are designed, you're not really getting a lot of range out of that double elbow there. So it's kind of a bummer, but you know, whatever. Of course, it does have a bicep swivel, which you can hear that plastic. Oh, it's so good. That hurts. Hand is on a ball joint, so of course it rotates and you get plenty of movement there. You do get a little bit of range forward with the arm as well. You can kind of see how that works. A little bit of a butterfly-esque joint, but you really kind of got to work it to get where you're going. The ab crunch, here you can see the crunch can go back a decent amount and can go forward, and not too much side to side or rotation on this guy. It's very limited. You can see that this piece right here is hitting with the bottom part of the plastic, so it definitely hinders the articulation. On the skirt area, I don't know what else you would call it, all of these panels are articulated, so that is really awesome, really nice touch. Even on, nope, just kidding, not on the back side, but the front side is, so you can get those nice kicks. So there you go, you can see him kicking out. He does have a double knee, which does work better, but still not great, and there's nothing hindering it, so the joint is just a little not good. Little not good, that's what I'm gonna say there. And this also has some articulation as well. Not too much, but the feet can move up pretty far and move down, and of course, since it's on a ball joint, you get a ton of ankle pivot here. So like I was saying, the beam saber blades do plug in really nicely to the back of the figure, just like that, so you can have a more classic style grandpa look. And of course, if you wanted to put the shield on, you have to flip this piece up, because normally it is facing downward, kind of like that, so he can grip the shield with the hand, because it plugs in right there. You can see it can plug in on either arm, although it's always on this arm as far as I remember. But you can flip this over and plug it into the back of the figure like so, if you wanted to have the shield on his back. So that is a nice touch. Overall, I think this figure is pretty good. He kind of looks a little, I don't know if it's just me, but he kind of looks a little, the legs look really big compared to the rest of the body, and it just looks slightly off, just ever so slightly. I know it kind of has always been like that. The legs are a little bit bigger, but for whatever reason, on this figure in particular, it looks like his legs are really long compared to his torso. But overall, I think it still looks really good, and of course, for a affordable Bandai Tamashii Nations Gundam figure, I will take it. Okay, so that was Grandpa. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Wing Gundam. I forgot to show the package of the first one, but you can see it right here. Nice small window. Nice little piece of artwork for the corresponding Gundam. Not a whole lot going on, just some nice action poses on the back, and a lot of unreadables, and it tells you to buy the other two. So there you go, and a nice picture of the figure on the side there. So let's get them open. And for accessories, of course, Wing Gundam comes with a trigger finger and a gripping hand. He also comes with his rifle, which again is just some gray plastic with a nice little bit of gold paint there, which is pretty reflective, so I kind of like that. I dig that, other than it being a little bare. Also has his shield here, which again is just plastic on plastic, and it looks really good. It looks accurate to the show. This piece is also a separate piece when it comes out of the box, but once I put it on there, I couldn't really get it off, so there it stays. And this piece in the shield also comes out, and you can put it in a separate way so that he can hold the shield better. But there we go. Aha. So here we go, separate piece. You can plug it in like that and have him holding the shield out just a little bit further as opposed to just the tight grip. So you got two options there, or you could probably do them both at the same time. And these aren't really accessories, but they come separate in the box, and that is his wings. And you can see here, these also do look really good. Nice sculpted detail, pretty clean paint for the small amount of paint that is on there, which is, you know, I'm glad, because that would kind of suck if the paint was bad, considering how little there is. So let's take a look at Wing. So here is Wing up close and personal, and you can see that as opposed to Grandpa, Wing has a little bit more paint on him, and the details are really nice and noticeable. I feel like the gold paint really pops on the blue, and I enjoy the bit of green metallic paint there for the chest piece. So let's go ahead, look down on the figure, the sculpted detail. Again, you can see all the little bits of places where you can do some sweet panel lining if you so choose on these figures. But I mean, like I was saying earlier, that's what the model kits are for. These are just figures, you know? Could they be panel lined? Would I be happy if they were panel lined? Of course, but I'm not gonna complain. So again, really accurate look. Enjoy how he turned out. And let's go ahead and put the blaster in his hand, because why not? So let's take a look at articulation here. You can see, just like Grandpa, the head is on a ball joint. The arms do move out really far on Wing, because he is not impeded by those shoulder pads. His shoulder pads are a little different, obviously, and they also are slightly independently articulated. And of course, he does have all the same joints, so you do get that little bit of butterfly action. You just gotta kind of work at it. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that work a little bit better than Grandpa, but still not too great. And you also have this little piece for the transforming mode, which he does not transform. So it's just kind of chilling there, but at least it is articulated, so that's not so bad. Hand is on a ball joint, so of course you know how that goes. One thing that is mildly disappointing with the beam rifle is you kind of, you know, if you want to have him posed up holding it, it definitely is going to impede. All of this is all very messy, so you can't really get him to hold it with a bent arm. But I mean, he normally fires it holding it straight out, so it's not really that big of a deal. Of course, he does have some twist and some back and forth, not too much. Could be better. And these individual pieces are articulated just like the others. And his legs can move out really far. You can see he can do the splits pretty well, and he can also kick forward a decent amount. Just like Gramps, these pretty much all have the exact same articulation. Kind of like, I would assume that these are mostly a base body, and then with some new sprinkles in there. And the double jointed knees do work decently, not bad. Could be a little bit tighter. As you can see, there's nothing impeding the articulation, yet we are stopped at a gap right there. You do have a little bit of a thigh twist too. Well, it's not really a thigh twist, it's more like the upper leg twisting right there. But you know, I can't think of another name to call it. This little piece right here is also articulated, and of course the feet can move down and up and side to side, and a little bit of that ankle pivot. So overall, not too shabby, Gundam Wing, not too shabby. Again, I'm sure the more expensive versions of these figures released by Tamashii Nations are much better, and of course the model kits also most likely much better. But again, these are figures, action figures for people who have been looking for Gundam action figures for a long time. Finally, let's take a look at Unicorn. Starting with some accessories, he comes with his little back piece right here, which comes detached from the figure for some reason. Probably just couldn't fit him in the box like that, and there you go. Plugs right into the back of the figure. He comes with more blaster effects for the beam rifle slash beam saber. Again, you can also plug it in either way that you would like. Plugs into the gun, plugs into the hilt. And these are exactly the same as the ones that come with Grandpa. So he also has a little shield piece right there for his shield, which If you know, I'm pretty casual when it comes to Unicorn, but he is permanently in destroy mode. You cannot transfer him back and forth from regular to destroy, so the shield is in destroy mode. And the nice little bits of pink, sort of a pinkish red, look really good on the shield, and it definitely pops in contrast with the white, so that is a nice look. And again, same thing with the other two figures. You get the trigger and the grip hand. And if I'm, I would go ahead and be willing to bet that these are all the exact same hands, just included with different figures. So again, a lot of reuse, it seems, in this line already, even through the first three figures. The hands, the saber stuff. I'm still not really complaining about it. I think it's fine, because I just want some Gundam figures. He also has some beam saber hilts tucked away in his arms on both sides, and he also has beam saber hilts that come with the figure too, which are different from Grandpa's, so that's good. At least they got the style different for those. And then here is the beam rifle with a nice little surprise bit of green paint there, but again, it's just black plastic, but the sculpted detail looks really good. Go ahead and plug these in. Looking nice. So let's take a closer look at the details of Gundam Unicorn. You can see here it's mostly just white plastic with some nice reddish pink paint throughout the figure, symbolizing the figure is in destroy mode. And the eyes look really clean under there. You can see the nice little bit of green paint, along with some green paint right up there. And the actual visor piece being that nice metallic gold. Looks really good, pops really nicely off of this figure. And you can see he is a big chunky boy here, lots of great details, but not a whole lot of variation in those details on the actual figure itself. So there's really nothing too crazy going on, nothing to complain about really. I think it looks mostly pretty good. Some of the paint is a little fuzzy, but what are you gonna do? So articulation wise, head is on a ball joint, just like the others. You can get tons of movement out of that, especially with the added little neck hinge. The arms do move out pretty far. The shoulder pads are independently articulated. Double jointed elbows that again get you about 90. You're not getting more than that out of these double elbows, which is a little unfortunate because of the armor right there. You can see where the point meets, and if you do it anymore, you're going to stress that plastic out. Bicep swivel, not really much of a twist at the ab. The crunch is also very minor, not a whole lot going on. Independently articulated skirt pieces right here, so that's a nice touch. Can kick out really far. That's a good kick. The double knee, really bad on Unicorn because he's got such crazy designs back here, so not getting a whole lot out of that one. And for the feet, they can move down, they can move up. This piece is articulated by itself, but it is kind of hard to move with this big fucking piece right here. So they don't really move up that far because you're hitting that plastic there. But again, affordable Gundam figures. How long has it been since we've gotten affordable Gundam figures that are just easy to obtain? And of course, you can do the splits really well. So let's do some comparisons. I know that's what we've all been waiting for here. Everyone's been patiently waiting this whole video for the comparisons, and what you'll notice right off the bat is that these are all almost the exact same size. Slight variations because of the heads and stuff like that, but if you are a Gundam fan, you know that all three of these should pretty much be very different heights. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, Wing should be the smallest, Unicorn should be the biggest, and then Grandpa would be somewhere in between. But these all pretty much exactly hit 6 inches, maybe a little bit under. Yeah, you can see right there, they're all right under 6 inches. They're all pretty much exactly the same height, which is mildly disappointing. I would have liked maybe some sense of scale in the line, but again, I'm just really excited about having affordable Gundam figures. So now that we've kind of established that they're all the same size, for the sake of my space is really small, I'm probably gonna just compare the figures using Grandpa and compare Grandpa to the rest of the figures that I have to compare it to, but I'll still keep these guys nice and safe in the background there. And first up, most importantly, here is Grandpa next to a high-grade model kit of Grandpa, and you can see the height difference right there. Of course, we'll compare Grandpa to an old high-grade model kit. This is a classic Gundam Epyon model kit from way back when, and you can see the height difference there. And next to a Star Wars The Black Series figure, this is the Patrol Trooper. The White Ranger from Hasbro. Then the Bandai Tamashii Nations Gypsy Avenger and Saber Athena. The other two Bandai Tamashii Nation Pacific Rim figures, Bracer Phoenix and Rango Tango. I don't remember their names. Pacific Rim Uprising sucked, but they made some great figures. NECA Gypsy Danger. The original NECA Knife Head, the smaller release. The 2019 NECA Godzilla figure. And then, of course, this old Master Asia Gundam from way back in the day. I don't remember what line this is attached to. But if you do, comment down below, because I don't remember. I've had this figure since I was a kid. Okay, so overall, so far, so good with the Gundam Universe line. I am pleased with what I have found. Of course, there are some scaling issues, and the articulation could probably be a little bit better. But again, affordable Gundam figures finally online at least. I doubt these will be in any easy to find store like Walmart or anything like that, but very easy to find online. For a first solid lineup and affordable Gundam figures, these will do just fine. Of course, they're not going to replace Gunpla or anything like that, so if you're already way deep into that, I would say don't even bother with these. You're just going to be disappointed ultimately. But for people like me who are casual model builders and would rather just have a decent looking figure on the shelf, then these are pretty good for you, and I would have to say I recommend them. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the first wave of Gundam Universe figures down below. Of course, we always talk about action figures, movies, Blu-rays, all that sorts of good stuff on the channel. So if you're new here, don't forget to press subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement, and I will see you guys next time.